Hey guys, Deadset here. This is it. We are at the Crusader endgame, and much to my dismay, I had to shift from my beloved fire into holy. It can be considered even logical flavor-wise, since Crusaders are, after all, holy warriors, and really, their strongest weapons and skill runes, as it currently stands, are based on holy damage. I must preface everything else that will be said in the video and just get it out of the way. There are two items that you need before what you see on the screen can work. The first is the Gerfalcon's Foot, a one-handed flail that removes the cost of Blessed Shield. The second is the Jekang Board, a shield that adds between 4 and 6 additional bounces to your Blessed Shield casts. On your Gerfalcon's Foot you want a socket. Additional strength or attack speed can help, but aren't mandatory. If it rolled holy damage, and mine didn't, you should consider using the Holy Cause passive for additional damage, but if the weapon rolled another damage type, the passive simply does not heal enough to be worth the slot. On your Jekang board, you want crit damage and strength. Additional block chance or Blessed Shield bonuses are a luxury, but if you get them, more power to you. I've been asked in previous videos if block chance should be picked over crit chance for the bonuses that it offers to Blessed Shield, and my answer is a resounding no. Block bonuses are gravy on top and not something to compete with crit chance. A third item that will be extremely helpful if you want to get into Torment 6 would be, of course, the Ring of Royal Grandeur. I believe there isn't a single class in the game right now that does not want the Ring of Royal Grandeur, and there is a very solid reason for that. It can be a trifecta and give you a 3 set piece bonus when you should probably have 2 at most. As you'll see in a minute when I go over my other gear slots, this ring gives me 2 powerful 3 piece bonuses, the Blackthorn and the Guild, and frees a slot for an additional 2 set bonus where I put in the Cane set. You probably know this already, but I want to insert a little reminder that the Ring of Royal Grandeur is gained strictly through Hereditary caches from Act 1, and the way to farm them is to do split farming runs on normal difficulty. This is how I got my older ring and the current one, so keep at it because until the next patch hits, this is the best way to farm it. To get the rings out of the way, I should mention that Stone of Jordan is the counterpart to the Ring of Royal Grandeur when it comes to best in slot. As you might guess, I am looking for a holy damage Stone of Jordan. I have a fire one and a physical one, which I am currently wearing to boost my phalanx damage, but even with the wrong element, it offers bonuses that you simply cannot pass up. 30% bonus damage against elites in a game where elites are your regular challenge is a no-brainer. Other viable options include the Justice Lantern for the block bonus, which adds to the damage of Blessed Shield, the Unity Ring, of which you need 2, one for yourself and one for your follower, for the great damage reduction in High Torment, and also the Oculus Ring for the potential of an attack speed double roll, since the ring has innate attack speed and can roll that stat again, stacking up to 16% attack speed. Once again though, I would say try to farm your Ring of Royal Grandeur and your Stone of Jordan. To me, they are best in slot for this build and many others. Now that I mentioned the use of Ring of Royal Grandeur in the build, I will go over the sets that it enables. First, the Blackthorn set. I'm using the chest and the pants. Both the pieces themselves and the set bonus provide a toughness boost, 250 vitality and 10% less damage from elites, that is invaluable in High Torment. The 10% increased damage against elites adds up nicely with the SOJ and the Guild. The Guild set, I'm using shoulders, where I went full toughness, and bracers, of course with holy damage. And the 3-piece bonus is quite frankly sick. On top of the 2-piece damage reduction, you get an additional 15% damage reduction from elites and 15% damage increase against them. Added up with the Blackthorn and the Stone of Jordan, you get a whopping 55% damage increase against elites, which melts them regardless of the difficulty. The King set adds a nice 8% increased attack speed bonus to the build, I opted for gloves and boots, aiming for the usual primary stats on the gloves and a nice little Blessed Shield bonus on the boots. I would like to make another note here. The Ogild and Cane sets are both crafted. You'll need two types of legendary materials for them. The Shard of Unstike Plate for the Ogild set, which is farmed from various purple ghost enemies in bounties, and Magda's Tormented Soul for the Cane set, which is farmed from, unsurprisingly, the boss Magda. The fact that you can craft a lot of the important gear for High Torment is, I think, in players' favor, since you skip the RNG part of random items, and as long as you can keep up the crafting costs, you can aim for perfection of every specific slot with a much higher chance for success. For the Helm, I consider Andariel's Visage best in slot, and it's not hard to see why, since it can roll primary stat, crit chance, elemental skill bonus, and attack speed, which is everything this build needs. The additional percentage damage taken from fire is a minor nuisance in this build, since you'll be keeping your distance and the actually dangerous fire affixes of elites are in melee range. A temporary option for the Helm slot until you farm your Andariels can be a crafted Helm of Rule, since similarly to the Justice Lantern block bonus, it will add up to your Blessed Shield damage. For the belt, there are several viable options. Of course, the elusive Witching Hour with its attack speed and crit damage will be very helpful to the DPS output of this build, but I consider a good roll of Harrington's Waist Guard a very close second, if not an equal. Not only is it guaranteed to roll much better toughness stats than the Witching Hour, but the unique affix doubles my damage, turning it into 2 million DPS for 10 seconds, and you'll be surprised how easy it is to keep up the 10-second bonus, since the tooltip is a bit misleading and all sorts of containers in the game are considered chests for the purposes of this belt. Dead bodies, weapon racks, loose tiles on the ground, anything that you open rather than destroy in the environment triggers the amazing bonus, and in certain rifts it's not unusual to keep it up 80% of the time. Last but not least, the Amulet, just a nicely rolled Rondo's Locket. Regardless of having a legendary or just a well-rolled rare amulet, these are the stats that you're looking for. Main stat, holy bonus, and crit stats. Let's go over the build. My primary attack is Blessed Shield with Shattering Throw. Multiplied by the Jekang board and made free with Gerfalcons, this already powerful holy rune elevates to a new level, destroying entire screens of enemies. I used the super defensive combination of Judgment with Resolved and Shield Glare with Divine Verdict for High Torment. Both skills offer excellent crowd control against the hard-hitting swarms of Torment 6, but they do even more. Judgment with Resolved will ensure that you crit the enemies caught in the AoE snare, while Shield Glare will add a great 20% damage increase against whoever you blinded. All in all, the crowd control and damage amplification in both skills make them great picks for Torment 6. Phalanx with Bowmen, even though the gear choices will not aid the physical damage done by these dudes, you'll quickly learn to appreciate them against single targets, which is, by the way, the weakest point of the build. Whenever you are faced with a single enemy, just call up your Bowmen buddies, they scale with your attack speed and your crit stats. They even serve as a distraction to enemies, so if you haven't tried them since the buff to Phalanx, you should. You will love them. Akarat's Champion with Rally, even though we don't use a 6-piece Zakan set and we don't stack cooldown reduction, this still is a beast of a skill that will give you 25% increased attack speed and basically 2 lives, which is more than enough to deal with any enemy that dares stand in your way when you have Akarats up. I'm actually wondering the most about my use of the Rally rune, since we aren't particularly cooldown dependent, but it serves nicely and I will make further research in that regard. I'm using Glow of Valor with Critical. A very logical choice, I would say. Reliable attack speed increase along with a delicious crit damage burst pretty much up whenever you need it. The Answered Prayer rune is also an option, but at least I feel that Nephilim Glory cannot compete with the raw damage output of Critical in High Torment. For the passives, Towering Shield and Hold Your Ground I feel are mandatory for the build, both adding to the survivability and your blessed shield damage. Finery is a standard choice if you're looking for a roll damage boost, since Crusaders don't have many of those options. And finally, I've picked Fervor since I'm satisfied with how often the bonus is up. Other viable options I feel are Holy Cause if you were lucky enough to get a Holy Falcon, or Lord Commander for additional phalanx damage, or even Divine Fortress for additional survivability. On to my Paragon points. Since we are not using a two-hander and the Heavenly Strength passive, I've maxed out my movement speed with Paragon points and put the rest in Strength, attack speed and critical hit damage in offense. In defense, all resist, and I'm a bit torn between armor and life regen. The video was done with armor. And in utility, area damage and life on hit. This is it for the build. There aren't many weaknesses to it apart from the single target damage, to which the Phalanx Bowmen are only a partial remedy. You can, of course, work around that by grouping up or dragging your single target, let's say the Rift boss, to a place where you still have trash mobs left. You actually see me making a mistake in the video and taking too long with my Rift boss fight, when I should have just sought out more white mobs to help with the blessed shield bounces. Healing is also a bit of an issue, since life on hit has a very low 0.1 proc rate with blessed shield, which is remedied basically by killing things faster than they can kill you. That's also the reason why I'm looking into life regen in my Paragon points. Well, I'll leave you to enjoy what little's left of this Torment 6 Rift. As always, if you liked what you saw, I would greatly appreciate your subscription to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time.